So many badasses in the house. Hello, good evening, good afternoon. We're going to jump into a little conversation. I'm just here to wake you back up to who you already were. That's all I'm here for. However that happens, however it comes about, I take no responsibility for what comes out of my mouth. I just let it come through. Joanne, hello. Ready? Just finished watching the car stream. That was a good car stream today. It was good. It was God. That's what it was, wasn't it? So because I just had this painting hung, which is ginormous, by the way, it's so big. It doesn't look that monstrous with my big ass head in front of it right on the screen, but it's been sitting in its box for ages and I finally got it put up. So therefore I feel like I should sit in front of it to do a video. Amanda Francis, hello. Katrina Ruth, here I am. Let's go. I popped around to my friend's house just now. I had to take her something. And as I was driving back, I was thinking, I feel like talking to the people. I don't have anything to say. I'm literally perched in the stairwell. That's what I'm doing because this painting is hanging in the stairwell. That's where it is. You can tell it on the Facebook Live. I got to drop down a stair. I could have gone any number of other places and sat like a normal, comfortable human, but no, she sits in the stairwell like a cat. So that's just how it is. That's fine. I could have also drove to the warehouse because I've got to go there after this anyway. I've got a special evening on for ladies. Don't worry. Don't freak out if you didn't know that you could have been there because you couldn't have been there because it's not a business thing. It's a social thing, sort of. Would we call it social? It's a God and a flow thing. I'm just adjusting this over here. So as I was driving home from my friend's house, I was thinking, I don't really feel like talking to any of y'all. And besides which, I need to take a shower. And surely if I was going to go live and do a Facebook Live, then surely I would take the trouble to shower first or put something on my face or brush my hair or whatever. And I really don't feel like doing that. And I couldn't be bothered doing that. Why do phone calls keep getting through when I'm live? I don't understand because my do not disturb is on. And so I went through this whole thought process in my head is my point. I'm not rambling about whether or not I've taken a shower for the fun of it. I'm explaining to you that I went through this whole thought process in my head as to why I didn't feel like talking to any of you and I don't have a message to share anyway. And so therefore, too bad, nothing's coming through for you today. And as I was driving home from my friends, I thought, the thing is though, the reality of how this business works, my business, but the reality, I believe, as somebody who is committed to living a spirit-led life, as in it's not really up to you. In fact, it's not up to you at all because you willingly handed over the rights for that. And also, just in a practical sense, not that that's not practical because that's the most practical, but in a very, very practical sense as far as business, things that you think you might need to do in business or things that you may think need to be in place in business. It is always a good philosophy to quit questioning and just show up for what is coming through you in this moment. Now, it's not a good philosophy to do that if you're not rightly planted where you should be and what's coming through you is all manner of mess that really should be sorted out between you and God. Even then, if God's leading you to share something, say something, put it through, good, well, he'll take care of it. No need for you to concern yourself with it. But what I'm talking about is we get these ideas in our collective heads. We get these ideas in our head that if I'm going to talk on the internet, if I'm going to do a live stream, if I'm going to write a blog post, if I'm going to send out an email, if I'm going to do anything that could be identified as marketing, then I first need to prepare myself. So my little idea that I had in my head at that time was, I can't really go live because I don't feel like showering and I would need to shower before I put a little bit of makeup on, surely because my face is shiny and I don't feel like showering and I don't feel like putting makeup on, so therefore I can't go live. Like, what a weird thought process. It's not one that I would subscribe to, nor that I have subscribed to, because goodness knows and God knows and the Holy Spirit knows and everybody knows that the places I've gone live from or the ways that I've shown up on the internet historically for many, many years now, nearly 2 decades, has just been wherever I am, however I am. These days we have a little light on the phone and also a filter, so it doesn't really matter. You can easily show up and look like you're pretty presentable, even if it's mildly terrifying if there weren't a light and a filter on. But you create so many different reasons why you can't share the message that you're being led to share. Maybe you feel like it's not polished enough, you're not polished enough, maybe you feel like you're not quite sure of what all your thoughts are anyhow, or you're not clear. Maybe you feel like surely if you were going to show up and start just speaking something forth, that there should be that it should be a means to an end, that there should be an end in mind as to where that's going to be leading, how it's going to lead into your sales offer, for example, or your marketing offer. And because you've not thought that through properly, therefore you need to think that through and work it out. And then meanwhile, as you start thinking that through, you start to realize that, oh, there's probably things you need to improve on your sales page or in your marketing. Do you see where I'm going? Some of us, and you know who you are, came here to share something that whilst your own ability, know-how, and, putting together of yourself has something to do with it in some sort of way, it's not completely beside the point. That it's not really about that, though. It's not about that. It's not about that. And if you were to wait till you knew exactly how it's all going to come together before you started to share something as a messenger, as a person who's here to share a message and who's here to share something that transcends you and you being you, if you were to wait till it's all come together, or if you were to wait till you had all the moving parts in place so there's a means to an end and you can quite comfortably or organizedly lead into your sales offer or your marketing or whatever it might be, then by definition, are you really allowing yourself to be led by the Spirit? The Holy Spirit is what I'm talking about, who I'm talking about. But your own spirit, your own intuition, your own inner knowing being, where you would look to as a starting point for that. Are you at all allowing yourself to actually be led by that inner knowing, that inner wisdom? Because if you are, then by definition, you wouldn't know all the different moving parts of what's going to come out. The best courses I've created, never mind live streams, blogs, and it's not just me, it's the entire industry of those who do business this way, which many of whom have been my private clients over the years, and thousands upon thousands more through the groups and the courses and whatnot. There's this letting go that has to occur, and it's not a one-time thing. There's a letting go that occurs repeatedly, in fact, daily in some format. And for some of us, how we're called and who we're called to be, and if we're going to answer that call and say yes, is it's a way of life. It's not a one-time thing that you go, okay, I'm going to surrender over here, I'm going to let go over there. I'm going to lay down my rights to be in my own mind, my own will, my own emotion, whether or not I feel like I. It's not a one-time thing. It's a practice, and ultimately it's a way of life. Ultimately, it's a way of doing business. A couple of good friends of mine were in the house here earlier helping out with some things, and these are good friends of mine from church. And Denise and I were just having a quick conversation about something, or a message, a sermon that she'd heard on the weekend at the church that she went to, which wasn't our church, she was visiting elsewhere. But it was about dead works, or it was about, the old you being dead. The old you being dead before you come to Christ. And so the old is dead, and meaning that those who are not in Christ and those who have not come to Christ are walking around dead. Sorry to tell you, if that's you, you may want to sort that out. Message me if you need help, and I can walk you through. If I trigger you, good, maybe there's a reason for that. If you just think I'm crazy, good, maybe there's a reason for that. I trust you'll get what you need anyway, because I'm not really here thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just letting it come through. But it brought to mind, this quick little conversation that we had just for a moment, brought to mind something that really hits home for me, which has to do with that when we do our work, whether it be our work in business or our showing up in any area of our life, so business, parenting, relationships, day-to-day life, community, acts of service, you name it, any of it, when we're doing whatever it is we're doing in our own will, our own mind, our own emotion, rather than being spirit-led and rather than allowing it to come from that place which truly is beyond our own natural human comprehension, because it is supernaturally comprehended, supernaturally understood, supernaturally empowered, supernaturally charged, supernaturally activated. So there's comprehension available for you there, but it's not in your mind and it's not in your emotion. That's for sure. And it definitely is not a match for you being in your own will, meaning your own ideas of how you think things need to be or should be or how they should be lined up or what have you. When we do things in our own will, our own mind, our own emotion, that can feel like what's really needed at the time, you know? My emotion might tell me I don't feel like doing something, or my will might tell me that I want to do it in this particular way, or emotion or a spirit of fear or any sort of number of things that's not coming from in my spirit might tell me that in order for me to be able to effectively show up in my online business or effectively bring a message that's of service or of any purpose, that I need to at the very least be organized, planned, physically prepared, and, you know, have all the notes and know exactly where it's going, and then have a nice, neat little sales process to follow it, right? Well, that might seem, on the one hand, I'm just thinking about whether I can put my whole leg through this stairwell here and be more comfortable, but then is it going to get stuck? That would be unfortunate because I'd be stuck here. I just got it through anyway. If I'm thinking, I need to lower this down. If I'm thinking about that in my own mind, whether or not I need to be organized, planned, prepared, that would, firstly, as an entrepreneur, that would stop you from so much of the showing up that is the true genius that you're here to share with the world. So much of it would never come to fruition. So much would never see the light of day. So much would never be imparted into the lives of others. So much that God would not be able to work through you. Why? Because you're shutting the door left, right, and center and not letting him work. And meanwhile, he's there saying, can we just do this thing together? Can you just let me work through you? Because, hello, hi, I have the plan. There's a plan for your destiny, which I've written, which you should follow, but it's up to you. You don't have to follow it. It's a choice. Well, it's not a one-time choice, as I keep saying. The bit that really strikes me and that led into that quick conversation I was having with my friend earlier when she was here was about dead works, and how when you're doing things in your own mind, will, and emotions, you might as well just go sit yourself in the graveyard and be done with it, because all of it is falling to the wayside. Now, regardless of where your beliefs are at, regardless of what you believe, this principle is very easy to understand. This principle is very true, and it is very relevant for entrepreneurs. For creators, it's very relevant for any human that desires to be purposeful in their endeavors. Let's understand about purpose. If what you're doing is taking action through your mind, your will, your own ideas, and it's not tapped in, it's not coming from your spirit, your own intuition, your own inner knowing, or God's spirit working through you. Hopefully no other spirits. That's not what we're talking about. If it's just coming from your own ideas of what it should be, or it's coming from fear that's impacting you, or it's coming from some sort of mishmash of what everybody else in your industry or on the internet or on Instagram or wherever it is saying that is required, then almost by definition, what's happening is you're just putting out all this effort, all this energy, all this time, all this focus, all this exertion, pieces of your life, FYI, into something that is already dead to the ground before you began. Already dead to the ground before you began. Because it didn't come from the right place. Because frankly, nobody told you to do that. You just decided to go and do that in your own mind, in your own will, or reactive to your emotional current state, or reactive to an industry or a group of people or an idea of what things need to be. I'm not trying to tell anyone off. It might sound like that because I feel like I'm getting a little ranty. I'm talking about the fact that we each of us have access at any point in time to be supernaturally equipped, empowered, charged, and activated to ensure and know with certainty that what we're letting come out of us is falling into soil such that it can grow, such that it can flourish. And in fact, it's already sprung forth supernaturally, and you just did the physical bit to bring it through. That is a big difference in terms of your so-called energy, emotion, time, etc. There's a big difference from turning up and doing anything, any form of messaging, live stream, video, blog, you name it, whatever it is relevant to your business. There's a big difference doing it that way because it's this simple. God put it on my heart. It came to me, it came through me, and I actually let it through. There's a big difference between that and let me just go figure this out. Let me decide whether or not it makes sense. Let me decide whether or not I feel like it. Let me decide whether or not my current set of fears, doubts, and insecurities that are, pressing at the surface will allow me to do it. Let me first adjust this, and this because I'm self-conscious about this, or I feel silly about that, or I'm worried about this thing over here. Or let me first just wait because I need to go and put all this other stuff in place first so that it's like logical, right? So that there's a means to an end here, so that I'm not just rambling on the internet for no reason. Can I just tell you that there's a chance, if you're here watching my stuff, there's a reasonable chance that part of what you came here to do is some version of just ramble on the internet for no reason. And you really need to get past the bit of telling yourself that that's not good enough, or that that's not God, if you know that it is God, or that that's not what entrepreneurs do, or that that's not how business should look, or that that's not proper marketing, or that that's not polished enough, or that that's not going to, have the A, B's and C's of any sort of business coming into place such that you can get the right sales or the right clients or the right growth or the right anything. There's a really, really good chance, if you're here and if this is, as Joanne says, at all landing for you, there's a really, really good chance that at least some of what you're here on this planet to do is open mouth, let things come out. Now, it's not arbitrary because you know where you're planted. And that's the behind closed doors, in the secret place, between you and God, your own spirit being rightly fed and fueled. That's the foundation, right? You resting rightly in God, you being in continual receiving and feeding and listening and hearing and seeking and accepting and being corrected and whatnot, such that when you do open your mouth and things start to come through, you're not trusting in you. You're not trusting in you. You're not trusting in you to just produce nuggets of gold onto the internet. It's not about you. The whole point is that you're not trusting in you, because if you were trying to trust in you, that's when you need to start thinking, figuring it out, concerning yourself with your emotional state, concerning yourself with whether or not it matches what everybody's currently doing on the internet, concerning yourself with, well, how is this going to all work out? How is this going to work out? How is this possibly going to lead to that? Now, I've made plenty of, mistakes, could call them mistakes in business, learned plenty of lessons, plenty of things over the years where I look back and I'm like, well, that was a curious life choice. Or plenty of things that I've just outgrown, or that I thought I cared about at one stage or another and I just don't actually care about. I read a big blog post about that, about tearing down most of what I built, losing millions, realizing I just don't care about so much. When I say losing millions, I don't mean I suddenly lost a big amount of money. I'm talking about where all the money went over the years, just thinking I needed to put time and effort and energy and focus into certain things, basically coming of age in that season, at least as an entrepreneur, going through and growing through so many things that I wondered if I would ever grow past, coming into, this era in my life, which started years ago now, but really had a peak period for that time about 5 years ago, and was building prior to that for, I don't know, however long, like a few decades really, about 5 years of focused before that. And you get to this point where things start to flow and things start to work, or maybe you start to make money that you hadn't had before, or you have a big breakthrough or a big, influx of growth or whatever it might be. And so maybe you start to put some different things in place, or you add some things, you grow some things. Sabina, check out the painting. I just had it hung today. Nikki's painting. I got a text her. How incredible is it? I finally got it out of the box and got it hung. Well, I didn't hang it. Anyway, so maybe you start adding all this stuff in. And then being human and all, you just kind of keep going, right? Okay, well, if this is how I am. If this worked, more of this should be better, right? If this was great and this was aligned and this was right and it was a fit, then 100x of it would be a better fit rather than, oh no, maybe that was actually all that was needed. And what's the next or the now thing? What's the true now thing? So I don't know where I was going with that, but I did write a blog about that. You can read it wherever you read my stuff. Or you can actually just go to thekatrinaruthshow.com/losing millions. That's where that blog is. It's a great read. It's a great read, if I do say so, about, I think, a process that most entrepreneurs, maybe not all, but most, especially those who've hit a point of, quote unquote success, go through of just adding, not everyone will do this, but many, adding, kind of what I just said, like, oh, if this is good, more of it must be better. And then bit by bit, stripping it back or getting to a point of stripping it all back at once and just realizing I don't even care. Like, all I ever came here to do was let the message out and let God work through me. That's it. End of story. That's the entire thing. All I need for that is a laptop and a phone. Technically, I could do it with one or the other of those things. And if I didn't have either of those things, I guess you would find me down on a soapbox in the park because I'll find my way to do it regardless, right? So then everything else is superfluous. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't add more things on. It doesn't mean that you can't get a nice painting, get a nice car, get a nice house, whatever, right? Whatever comes along. So long as you're on your path where you're meant to be, being who you're meant to be, and that just kind of happened to be there on that path. But when you start popping off the path here, there, and everywhere because you decided you need more stuff, or you need to fancy up your online presence, or you really should do your reels in that way, or you really should do your Instagram in that way, or you really should do your marketing in that way, or you finally should get on top of this website thing, or your next great idea that came through that was just honestly heaven sent. Now you're going, okay, well, good idea, God, that's great, I like that, but we probably do need the branding to be just a little bit more on point, and if we don't add in these, exact structured emails in this way, or this exact marketing thing in this way, or let people know about it in this way, then it's not going to work. So let me just take the life force and the spirit right out of it and smash it into something that the internet would be happy with right now. And now you're wondering why every night when you go to bed, you feel like something's not quite there. And what you're feeling is the particular pain of repeat betrayal of your own truth and of repeat denial of the supernatural power that's meant to work through you. And you're feeling the fact that, and this might sound harsh, but it's just true, you're operating from death. Because what you're doing is you're performing works, effort, exertion, trying to do stuff, trying to get somewhere, trying to push something forward, trying to grow something, trying to make more money, trying to impact more people, trying to help people, good stuff. And nothing wrong with like any of it in the right way, but you're doing it in a way that nobody actually told you to do. Or maybe the internet told you, or fear told you. But nobody that you should be listening to is what I mean, obviously. And so you're wondering why is it I'm going to all this trouble, I'm going to all these lengths, I'm really putting all this in. I can't figure it out. Well, maybe it's because you are not meant to be figuring it out. Maybe it's not meant to be on you and you're trying to make it on you. Is this making any sense? This makes sense for who it makes sense for. Like anything, yeah? So maybe it's not meant to be on you. Maybe it was meant to be from the whole entire time, from the get-go, that you just get up every day and you go, all right, girl, what are we going to be doing today? How does that look? Don't even actually need to know how it looks. What is the next now thing that's in front of me? Drop in, drop in, drop in. If you would stop questioning so much, oh, do I actually feel like it right now? Is the lighting right? Is the time of day right? Is the marketing right? Is the sales page right? Is my hair right? Is the phase of the freaking moon right? Or whatever else, Maybe if you would just make it a rule from now on, I'm not questioning, I'm just moving forward when I'm rightly led to move forward and trusting and knowing that everything will be given to me as I keep seeking first what I'm meant to be seeking, which is God, His kingdom, your destiny, truth, life planted in that. Okay? And if you want to take God out of it, which would be weird and good luck with that, it's not going to work anyway, but let's say that you did, the principle applies. This is the reality, right? You can take your whole personal development industry. It's all just a shadow surface level version of what God is telling us anyway. You're going to realize that at some point. You might as well realize it now and save yourself a lot of trouble. Maybe eternal trouble. Because there's meant to be a way where you don't have to figure it out. There's meant to be a way where it's not actually on you. Now, you still have responsibility. You certainly have choice. And your own discipline, follow through, etc. is required. But there's a difference between trying to even be disciplined and follow through or be committed in your own will, your own effort, just all by your little lonesome, as opposed to being supernaturally empowered and equipped to do so? Do you actually get that the whole entire thing gets to be, all right, I'm going to say yes, God, let's go. Help me, show me, be with me, guide me, equip me, correct me, lead me, etc. It's not, I'm going to say yes, now let me pick this whole thing up, whether it's your business, your money, your relationship, your life, all of it. Now let me pick it all up myself and carry it along like Santa's sack filled with bricks. That's not what it is. It's not that in your business. It's not that in your money. It's not that in any area of your life. It truly is meant to be, this is what's coming through me. This is that green light from within. This is what that inner witness, that inner knowing, that inner wisdom is saying. Can I trust in it? Well, where am I planted? Okay, we spoke very briefly about that. It's a bigger conversation for another day, but one that I have frequently anyhow, so just keep watching. Yes. And then I'm going to take the step. If you want to live your life or do business through a lens of, I need to figure everything out, I need to be ready, I need to be prepared, I need to always know what's happening, I need to make sure all the different moving parts are in place, then that will be the lens you continue to look through. That'll be the lens you continue to look through. What does that mean? It means you're not walking your true path of destiny. You're not going to be capable of living your purpose. Your purpose is firstly in God. So by definition, if you're doing it in your own will, your own figuring out, you trying to have it all on you, then that's not in God. That's you. That's you trying to be in you. But you can't walk your path of destiny because your path of destiny is not something that you wrote. Yeah? It's not something you write. The vision that's meant to be written and made plain so that anyone who looks at it can run with it. The vision is not something that you come up with in your own mind. Who knows that the vision is not something that you come up with in your own mind or in your own reactive emotions or in your own reactivity to what's going on Instagram or Threads or the internet or in the world? That's not where the vision is meant to come from. Oh my goodness. The vision for your life and the path of your destiny is meant to come from the fact that you at some point go, God, show me, reveal to me, work in me, work through me. And that you're willing to let it be about whatever it's actually meant to be about that's not about you. You already, identity, yeah? Let's talk identity for a moment for entrepreneurs. You do already know, loosely at least, who you are. So whatever it is you already know, like let's say, for example, you know you're meant to speak stuff forth, write it in some way, coach or mentor or minister or guide or whatever it might be, that you're a leader, for example, that sort of thing. You know that, okay? So that's going to be loosely correct. But there's going to be so much more to it that can only be revealed when you truly learn to stop doing dead work, to stop spending your day on stuff that nobody told you to do, opening doors left, right, and center that God certainly didn't open. So you opened them. You've now got to keep them open. And meanwhile, all this effort, all this energy, all this planning, all this time, all this worry or concern about whether or not the right things are in place for you to be able to show up, market, and sell, let alone help people, let alone see your business growing, your finances changing, etc. All of that dead, because it wasn't spirit led. That's exhausting. It's also quite silly, very silly, idiotic, really, if we're going to say it as it is. There's a different way. That's what I'm saying. There's a different way. And here's what else. You already know that. Anybody who finds their way into my content already knows that. That's why you're here. Why? Because you're seeking. You're looking for, you're yearning for something that is meant to be there inside of you. And it's not more of your own fears and doubts. And it's not a perfect marketing formula that you found on the internet. And it's certainly not everyone else's fears and doubts all just put into a blender and mixed up and made into a smoothie and then you drink it down. But yet that's how so many people are doing business. I think we've all done business that way in different ways. I know I have. Even with my years of experience, decades of experience in business, a decade now, coming up to a full decade just specific to mentoring the best of the best in the entrepreneur space, I still do it. Business that has produced a lot of money in most people's books at least, still do it from time to time. I would say I catch myself sooner or thank you, Lord, he catches me sooner. I listen, I hear, but doesn't mean that my mind doesn't come up with its own ideas. Oh, maybe we should do this. I just like to think of it as that work is already dead and already fell to the ground before you even did it. Do you know how you know? Because you can feel it. You're pushing this old thing up a hill, or you're trying to put all this effort and time into this thing over here, and you can feel that it's dead to the ground before you even did it. And what's happening? What is happening when you keep going, when you perpetuate that? What's happening is your little mind is like, oh, well, maybe if I just did it more. Maybe if I just put a bow on top. Maybe if I put a cherry on top. Maybe if I change the color of that button over there. Maybe if I add even more emails in explaining the thing that I don't even really care about because it's not spirit-led. When are you going to trust? When are you going to trust? When are you going to trust? When are you going to let go? When are you going to stop questioning everything? When are you going to just let it be? The message comes through. The inner knowing comes through. God speaks. It doesn't have to make sense to every different part of your mind, body, will, and emotion. That's for sure. But you just go, okay, yes, let's go. Press play. Turn on the thing. Start writing the thing. Do you know how much will work through you if you just let yourself be the vessel? That's the cool thing. This is a message I've been teaching for years in some way, shape, or form. You just begin. I don't know what to write, but you don't have to know. It's going to come through. Just start, just start, just start. Out of the tens of millions of dollars that my coaching brand has produced online, I would say tens of millions of dollars of it would not be there if I had not approached messaging, marketing, selling, creating like something that's not about me. Definitely not about whether or not I feel like it. Definitely not about whether or not I know how. Definitely not about whether I'm in the mood or it's the right time of day or the right lighting or the right phase of the moon or anything else at all. The small amount of times that I have worried about that sort of stuff, which has certainly happened, is the time where it was effort that was dead to the ground before I started, but for some reason I just kept going and didn't accept that until afterwards, you know? So that's a little message for ya. I gotta go, or otherwise people are gonna beat me to my special Monday thing that is beginning this evening. Not gonna tell you about it. I feel like we should live stream it or at least video record it though, but maybe not. We'll see. I got a special thing going on that God told me to do and it's starting tonight. So it's going to be awesome. It's not business related. So I got to go to that. But here's what's up. The Play Life Rule Breaker Society, you know there's meant to be a different way. I extended the opening of this course through the weekend. It's Monday here. The doors are going to be closing Monday in the US. So this is the final chance. We're getting into the final chance now. We're getting into the final hours. This is my brand new 6-week live course, the Play Life Rule Breaker Society. You're meant to be in, you're meant to be in, you're meant to be in. How do you know if that's true for you? Because you can feel it in your spirit and it's a pull and it's a propelling. It's coming through you. It's coming through. It's being told to you. It's just a knowing. Yeah, it's not because you want to go and learn all the different moving parts of how Kat does business, although in this course, I will be showing you behind the scenes of how I've been tearing everything down again and allowing the new to come through, which is cyclically just something that happens. And that is great, because it's God-led and it's right. So the Play Life Rule Breaker Society is let's tear it all down and build something that's actually fun, but it's not actually about building. It's let's let it snap through from the supernatural, because the thing that you are meant to bring through is already supernaturally done. So let's just start ignoring everything that is not that. Turn away, focus in, drop in, and let it snap through. Absolute final day to join. It's at thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. You don't want to miss it. You're meant to be in. 6-week live course with me. I run a 6-week live course, and this is a low-cost course as well. I run a there's one left in answer to that question. I think you run a 6-week live course, or maybe you do. I run a 6-week live course like this usually once every year, or sometimes it's 4 or 5, but I like 6 weeks quite a lot. This particular style of course, where it's very raw, it's very kind of unapologetic, tearing it all up and stripping it back, and it's that kind of vibe. It's not for the sake of it, you know? It's because that's what's going on with me. If I'm running that sort of thing, I'm just looking away from the screen because I'm just dropping a comment over here on the Facebook live stream. it's not for the sake of it. It's always, if I'm doing something like that, that's very raw and stripped back and it's like, rah, it's because that's the energy and the vibe that I'm in, and that's what's coming through. And so you get to come on this ride with me as I strip back and allow to be revealed the next layer, the next phase, the next iteration of what my business looks like. It's a very cool opportunity to be there and see behind the scenes as to what I'm doing, and not to mention to be in my space when I'm in this vibe, this just spirit-led, what even is that flow? Some of you know because you've been there before when I'm in that space, and that's where we're at right now. So that's what the Play Life Rule Breaker Society is about. I would say I have this kind of like raw, real, stripped back sort of a new course come through once a year on average. I do sell at home study after that, so you'll be able to purchase at home study afterwards, but you can pay the same price as joining live and you won't be there live. So right now is the absolute final day. It's like it's less than final day. We're coming into final hours. Ginny said, don't even think about come inside with us. It is next level. Thank you for that comment. It really is. The first live training, which I did a few days ago, was 2 hours, just under 2 hours of absolute supernatural fire. Honestly, you can watch that training and just be done, because it is going to throw you on the floor such that you cannot get back up again with all the random nonsense that is not supposed to be there in your business. That's what this is about. I'm here to help you remember who you always were, because that's already there. That's already there. You just here, there, and everywhere doing a whole bunch of stuff. That's not the thing. So we're going to have fun. We're definitely already having fun. We're going to get things fired up. We're going to get things flowing. And what we're really doing is let's snap in now. Let's snap it through now the way it's always meant, or already meant to be. That is not a random idea that came from nothing. That is biblically backed. That is how it's meant to be. Supernaturally, what's for you is for you. What's for you is for you. It's up to you what you do with that though. So as an entrepreneur, it's a responsibility, and it's also just freaking prudent to do it the way that is supernaturally charged and equipped. Plus, it's better for everybody because the best of you comes through. All right, I said what I had to say. Go to thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. Get your place, get your place, get your place. Let's tear it all down. Let's see something actually fun snap through. It's meant to be easy. It is. It's meant to be easy. I don't mean there's not sparky bits. I don't mean there's not things that smack you in the face. I don't mean you won't get thrown in the blender from time to time in business or in life, or goodness knows what else. But there's a supernatural equipping that's meant to occur. And whatever you think about money, business growth, all that stuff, if it feels hard, murky, convoluted, overwhelming, endless, relentless, it's draining the life force right out of you, I guarantee you are off path. You are not in where you're meant to be in. This is not about magic bullet solutions. It's nothing like that. It's literally, let's just go into the place where it's already done. That is a literal location. Let's just go there. Let's absolutely add a little bit of discipline, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but all these things coming from flow and coming from a place where, oh, it's just like that. The fun bit, that's just a bonus, because you know what's really freaking fun? Stop doing stuff you don't care about. Stop concerning yourself with stuff that nobody else cares about either. Stop worrying about all the stuff that you think you need to have in place in order to be able to show up as a full-fledged entrepreneur or human. And let's just make it about creativity, God, flow, you, not in that order necessarily. All right, thekatrinaruthshow.com/Play Life Society. Have an amazing rest of the day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And do not forget, life is now. Press play.